Majlis, weekly Majlis. So Fatima, just checking up on the controls. You are live on Facebook. All right, and the recording is on. Am I the co-host now? Did you make me the co-host? Okay. All right. Okay. So let's begin. I think we are all set to go. So let's begin. So today the topic is very interesting as well as a little different than our previous last few weekly themes. So today, mashallah, is our fifth of our majalis. Alhamdulillah. So talking about the trust between the parents as well as the children. So it's although apparently it looks like a two-way traffic on both sides, but who carries the greater responsibility of building the trust between the parents and the children? Anyone would like to add anything over here is free to share the response in chat or open up the mic and speak up. So the question is that who carries the greater responsibility of building the trust between the parents and the children? All right, parents. Okay, parents. Thank you so much for your response, Ariba. Yes, parents are more responsible for creating and building a trustworthy relationship or building a trust in between the parents and the children. So let's look at a few points that can help build a trustworthy relationship. So before we move on to our subject, I would like I would like you, the audience, to imagine two different families. The family A is the one which has got high level of trust between the parents and the children, and the family B is the one which has got low level of trust between the parents and the children. So what is the difference between A and B? Let's look at these quickly, and then we'll go further deeper into the subject. So let's talk about the family A, which has got high level of trust between the parents and the children. What do you see in this family? What is different in this family when the level of trust is high? Means what do you see as an outcome of high level of trust? Okay, good relationship. All right. So 990, you says good, you say good relationship. Yes, relationship is good. All right. Anything else? Communication. All right. Open communication. All right. Ariba says open communication. All right. Okay. Anything else? When the trust level is high, relationship is good and communication is good. They both are related to each other because when the relationship is good, communication is good. Yes. What else? What else happens? Okay, teamwork. Okay, thank you. Thank you for adding this. Teamwork. Yes, they work together. Yes. Anything else that you may like to add here? Okay. What about listening to each other? When the trust level is high, do they listen to each other better than other people? Okay, yes. Oh, okay, listening to each other. All right. What about caring for each other? Means having a soft corners or having a greater level of understanding about each other's emotions and feelings when the trust level is high. What is your opinion about this? Okay. Kids don't fear to share anything. All right. Okay, so I have something to say over here, which is coming shortly, inshallah. So please give me a few moments about this to share about this aspect. All right. So what we see over here is the open communication, is relationship. This is what you said: teamwork, having a greater understanding about each other's feelings and emotions, a feeling of caring and nurturing each other, and things like this. Okay. All right, without fear of judgment. All right, thank you, Riva, for sharing this. All right, so let's talk about the family. Let's go to family number B. Okay, we're giving importance to each other. Yes, yes. Thank you for your inputs. Now let's stop the inputs. So let's talk about the family B, which has got low level of trust. So what are the signs that makes you understand that level of trust is low in this family? What is happening around in this family? Okay, lack of communication. All right. Lack of communication is what? People not speaking to each other? People do speak to each other in this family. All right. What else is happening in this family when the trust level is low? Okay. Now they don't share their views. All right. Okay. Fine. Anything else that comes to that is a salient feature of this family where the trust level is low. Okay. Not giving time to each other, not being open and honest. Okay. Thank you very much for your inputs. So let's see. Now we have talked about two families, one having a trust and one having a high level of trust, and the family B, which has got low levels of trust. All right. So now let's see why. Let's see why are we okay. Someone says Ariva says not looking after your responsibilities. Oh, all right. So that means in Ariva's point of view, if the trust level is low, people don't take care of their responsibilities. Mashallah, excellent response and very deep response, I would rather say. Okay, so let's come to our subject. Family A has got high level of trust, and family B has got low level of trust, and we have seen the difference between this and these families. The question is that why having trust is important. Why are we talking about trust in this majlis today? Okay, so Bilal says no trust, no conflicts, no okay, no discussions, no ownership of. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Bilal, for coming up with so many points at the same in the same text. Yes. In when we do not have the trust, that means we have a fear of conflict. That means we cannot say open things openly. We don't have the feeling of being safe. That means if I say something, my neck will be chopped off. Yes or no? So this aspect alone is called psychological safety in terms of in corporate world, you can say psychological safety. Psychological safety means feeling safe to make mistakes. So in an environment, whether it's a corporate environment or a home environment, if someone is feeling safe to make mistakes, that means level of psychological safety is high. So if the level of psychological safety is high, people find it easier to share their mistakes. People find it easier to ask for help. People find easier to share their shortcomings and if they have done something wrong. People also find it easier if the level of psychological safety is high in homes. People also find it easier to raise a possible problem that may cause some damage or harm to the family. So if the level of trust is low, people usually shut up their mouth. They don't speak up. So this is one a few of the consequences that we have seen or that we have just taken into consideration when the trust level is high or trust level is low. So what happens when the trust level is low? People don't they don't feel comfortable in raising their opinion against each other. So when this happens, what happens? What happens next? There is no fear of accountability, and when there's no accountability, there's no commitment as a family, and there's people are not then they become indifferent to results. So same thing happens in the corporate world or in the home world as well. So this is one of the reasons where the trust plays or the trust is very important in terms of building a family structure in the years to come. So let's talk about the question that we raised a few minutes before. What happens, or why are we not talking about the trust? So let me give you some examples over here from some of the families that we happen to coach in our recent past. So this is a family which is quite well off. Family number A, quite well off. And the boy is around 15 years of age and in his ninth grade. And you don't know where this family exists. It exists here in North Pakistan, in Saudi Arabia, in US or whatever. But the family is real, and we have happened to coach them. So, what is the situation with the boy? That the father brought the boy, and he says, my son spends 6 to 8 hours of every day's time in playing video games, and he does not listen to me, or whenever we tell him to do something, he reacts back. Sometimes he uses abusive language at home, and we are not happy. So what happened when I started speaking to the boy? I told the father that we do not work with the children unless we work with the parents. So the story started that I happened to start speaking to the boy, and I asked him that how good is your relationship with your father? So he says on the scale of 1 to 10, he says almost like 4 out of 10. I said, why do you say four? So he says, because I do not know my father much, because my father remains busy at work, and I have not been able to spend some time, quality time with him, so that I could say that my relationship is higher. So now the first sign started coming up that the father was not able to spend some time with the child, and what were the symptoms over here in this family of having a low level of trust? Child or the boy playing excessive video games in his room, and not willing to listen to his parents, responding in abusing language, not taking of his prayers, and so on and so forth. So anyway, so I started working with the father as well as the child. 1 week father, 1 week the son, and so on and so forth. The relationship started improving further, but still it was not going the way it should have gone. So then I decided to engage with the mom as well. So I spoke to the mom. So in my informal conversation over the phone with the mom, she said apparently everything is fine, and we take good care of our children at home, and so on and so forth. During the conversation, mom shared that my child is remains confused. So this was her words. So I said, okay, so what do you want your child to be? She said that I would like my child to be confident, and so on and so forth, opposite to the word confused. During the conversation, she also mentioned that the child who is 15 or 16 years of age, the mom does not allow the child to go to the school by their own car. By their own car means they have a driver at home, but the mom does not let the child, let the boy and the younger siblings to go travel in the car with the driver alone. So what does the mom do? Every day, a mom goes to the school and drops the children, and then comes back home, and same thing happens in the afternoon. So my question to that mom was that you don't trust your children for going to the school, although the child is an adult now. He's 16 years of age with a driver in the safe home-based car, which you own. The driver is your driver, and then you want your child to be confident. So I just asked this question. So the mom started thinking. Another thing that mom shared is that in order to avoid children eating late night, what she would do is that she would lock the kitchen, and so that no one has access to the kitchen, because she did not trust the children that they will be able to use the kitchen the way which is good, and so on and so forth. So that she would lock the kitchen. Now, so again, what I would like you to see over here is that it was the mom who was giving, or who was creating the threads of mistrust between her and her children. And then when the things were going out of control, then the parents became worried and concerned, and they came to us and they wanted us to fix the children. So this does not happen this way. That responsibility of trust is higher with the parents than the children, because the parents create a sense of psychological safety at home, and this increases the level of trust and people confiding in each other. So this was one of the stories. So if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your questions. Or otherwise, we will have more stories to share. Faisal, if you would like to add anything, or Abdurrahman, if you would like to add anything over here, or anyone of our audience like to say anything here before we move on, go to the second story.
I think you summarized everything very well.
Mhm.
There is one thing that I would like to add is that trust follows the principle of reciprocity. It is like you have to give before you take. So if you want your kids to trust you and to believe in you, so it has to start with you. You have to start believing in them and trusting them with responsibility. And if it starts with you and they start feeling like trusted, they will trust you back.
Hmm. Yes. So Bilal has a question. He says psychological safety is that step number one. Process starts with building. Yes. Yes, it's step number one. Psychological safety means feeling safe to make mistakes. Yes. If a child has made a mistake, whatever, from breaking the glass to doing anything wrong in the definition or in the jurisdiction of your home, if this is the first mistake, let the room be given to the child for improvement. Well, if the same thing starts appearing over and over again, then this is a point of concern later on. But first mistake should be free. Should be given. Children should be given the room. Another thing which is important to understand over here is that usually whenever a child makes a mistake, whether the child is a small or a grown up, what we do is as parents is that we ask the child, why did you do that? Children usually are not able to comprehend the reasons why they have done it. Sometimes they have no reasons for doing that. Sometimes, and I've seen this not even in case of small children, in case of grown-up children. Sometimes the children they tease each other. They will siblings, they touch each other or give a smack and run away or touch the hair and then things like that, which makes no sense at all. So when you ask the child, why did you do that, the child will not have any answer. Another better way to phrase a why question is a how question. Okay, how did it happen? How did this glass break? Or how did this happen that the room is a messy one or whatever? What can we do to make it up, make the room again? How can we avoid this same thing to happen again in future? So what you have done is that you have transformed the why question into a how question. See, what is important over here? What is important over here is that what do you want? That means rather than talking about something that you do not want to see, you always talk about something that you want to happen at your home. Means if something is going wrong, rather than taking a deeper dive into what happened, why did it happen, and so on and so forth, whatever happened, let's talk about how to avoid this in future. So whatever be the situation, maybe it is a, let's suppose it's a messy kitchen. So the moms has instructed the children to make sure the kitchen is clean the way she left the kitchen. Now the children have come up and they have created a mess in the kitchen. Now the mom lands into the scene again. So it's a very common scene at home. Mom lands in the scene and the mom gets upset. When the mom gets upset, the first question is, why did you do that? Why did you keep the plates over here? Or why did you not wash the dishes? And so on and so forth. I believe this is a story, a common story which is happening at every home. If it is not happening, maybe your children are small, maybe it will start happening after a few years. So inshallah, you will find it easier, find it relevant and related. So what do you do instead? Fine. So what you do is that you first of all you need to understand that we all need training. Training is not only enough. We all need repetitive reminders over and again over a period of reminders over a period of time. Reminders. Samuel Johnson, there's a guy in United States who happened to be there almost like 300 years back. He said something very interesting. 300 years back, he said people need to be reminded more often than they need to be instructed. I repeat, people need to be reminded more often than they need to be instructed. So what we do, we as human beings, we tend to forget because we are insan, we tend to forget. So what the moms over here are supposed to do, train the children, and then keep reminding them with all the love and affection. See this. Why did you do that? This is one of the offending questions which breaks the walls of trust. So this gives me another leads me to another point. When we look at the performance of the fire department or the police department, these are the departments which are usually in a firefighting mode. Whenever something goes wrong, they need to reach the scene and do something to rectify. So if it's fire breaks out, may Allah forbid, may Allah protect everyone. So this is what happens. But do you understand that fire department, whenever they are not putting out fires, what they are doing? They are doing fire drills in companies. They are educating people. In most of the other times, there's a time of peace, this is what they are doing in the background, so as to avoid or so as to reduce the number of fires breaking out in the city when there's a real fire. Similarly, the moms or every one of us, we need to train our children. We need to train our children not in the kitchen, but everywhere, and work with them so that when actually the time arises when the children will be required to work, they do as you have trained them over a period of time. There's a lot of text I can see scrolling down in the chat window. Let me just go to the chat window and read them again. Psychological safety we have talked about at home. Okay, I think we have addressed this point, that let children make mistakes and help them understand that this is how everyone has learned. No one has learned without making mistakes. Did you learn how to ride a bicycle without making mistakes? Did you cook without burning your food or your dishes anytime in past in history? No, we have all made mistakes. We all have made messes in our life.
Mhm.
No trust, not conflicts, no discussions. Okay, next, how can we develop psychological safety? Okay, one thing, psychological safety, which is important, is that parents are the key people who make it safe, feeling safe at home. Another important point of creating a psychological safety is that parents highlight their own mistakes. Means parents accept that this is a mistake that they have done on their part, and they share their mistakes with the children. So what happens when parents share their mistakes with their children? Children realize that the parents are also from the same family and from the same world. They are not supernatural human beings. They also make mistakes, and they also apologize. So one of the major things to create psychological safety is your ability to understand your mistakes, accept them, and apologize in public. So when you apologize as a parent, you tell your children, you're teaching your children that this is okay to make mistakes. And when you apologize, it does not diminish your character or does not make you small. In fact, apologizing make you greater of a person, because apologizing takes a lot of courage to accept your mistakes, and in public, especially in front of your children. A lot of moms I have seen in my coaching experience, who think that they have apologized, but they really do not apologize. So if time permitted, I'll bring you more examples, inshallah. Let me address the questions over here.
Naifai, I
Uh,
want to add
yeah,
something here.
please go ahead
That
by all means.
someone has asked that how can we get our child to talk to us? Sometimes kids don't share. So
Hmm.
when kids don't share, then definitely it is something to do with psychological safety and trust, and it happens on because of the three emotions that the missing of psychological safety or untrusted relationship brings. That is either you have a guilt of something you have done in the past, and that haunts you, the kids, and that's why he's afraid to share what he wants to say, or he believes that if he's gonna share his true feelings, he's gonna be shamed. Okay, he's not gonna be given a positive record, and he will get a negative feedback. So this is related to the present moment. And the third emotion is the fear. That belongs to the future. So maybe he's fearful that if he's gonna share and if he's gonna talk about his true feeling, so maybe it's gonna trigger some kind of reaction, some kind of a behavior from the parent that he would like to avoid. So fear of that behavior uh, does not allow him to talk to the parent freely.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you for adding your valuable inputs.
Mm,
I would like to add something more to what you said. And I'll also relate to one of the questions that 990. I wish you have, if you had given us your name, maybe Ahmad, Ali, Muhammad, or whoever, so that we could feel that we are speaking to a human being. So she says that, as I understand, there is an incident, possibly, incident happened to the mother in the past. She don't trust the children and driver. Possibly, yes, yes. So let's suppose there was an incident in past where in her childhood maybe she has had a bad experience with the driver. Possibly, right. So because of that experience in the past, she does not trust her driver now, and her driver now to transport her adult children. So what is the message that she is giving now? The message is that to driver, that I don't trust you. The message to the children is that although you are 16, you're about to go to college now, but I still don't trust you as a human being. And I would like to continue to protect and defend you till the time permits. So what happens that this kind of relationships, so when they grow up, so soon the boy will go to the college, and soon he'll get married. He'll have his own life. So I would like you to see this happens now. What happens now? So imagine this is the child, or this is the son and the young man now. Now he has got his own wife now. Now this is the mother who has been not trusting his child for all his childhood, and the mother has been trying to control the life of the children since the beginning, and now the tendency remains the same. So now this mother has a tendency of intervening in the family affairs of now this young man and his wife's life, and this continues. This trouble continues for a lifetime. So what I would like you to see, that this kind of untrusting relationship between the mother and the child, they remain become an issue of the lifetime. So this is
mm,
one of the aspects. The other aspect is that the question is that how long can you protect your children? How long? Ultimately you need to leave them in this world, and you need to let them face the world. So how do you prepare them? How do you prepare them? By training them, and then by giving them in the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make them understand that you do your azkar whenever you leave your home, and you do your best, and then leave the matter to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then when anything happens, we'll see what happens further. So what you do is that you train your children, and then you have given them in the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by helping them understand the importance of askar, and reading them every day. So this is one of the things that I could explain it over here.
let me
So
add something here.
yeah, please go ahead.
Uh, this also relates to how you process the event as well, because what was your orientation when you were process the event? So like, getting back to the example of breaking the glass. So if a glass has been broken by a child, and if you go running into the kitchen, and the first question you ask is, what did you do? You just broke my glass, and you just destroyed my set or something. So that is like a self orientation. So you are putting yourself in before the other person. So this if you process the event in this orientation, it creates a sense of guilt, as I said before, a sense of guilt, and or an untrusted feeling in the kids. Instead of that, if you just walk into the kitchen, and the first question you ask is, did you got hurt? Are you safe? So if you are gonna show a genuine concern for the kids, so the kids will believe that, okay, something bad has happened, okay, and this could have resulted in something worse. So that's why my parent or my mom is so much concerned about about me, and I should trust her judgment about all this situation. And if he is telling me not to touch these glasses again, it has to do something with me. So there is something in it for me as well. It's not all about her and her stuff.
Okay. All right. So this takes me to another incident. See, when it comes to psychological safety, I would like to tell you some lessons learned from my own life. So I was always very possessive about my cars, about the car that I drive. So I would not let my uh, children mess up with the car. Right? I was like a Hitler become when they touch my car. So what happened is long back that my son was carrying 2 cups of hot chocolate, and he was trying to enter the car and sit in the car as well. So now both of his hands were engaged because each hand was holding a hot cup of chocolate, and while he was sitting in the car, he touched another seat, part of the seat or what, and he could not maintain his balance, and he fell on the seat. Now, when he fell on the seat, of course, a lot of hot chocolate spilled in the car, and it messed up. So it messed up the seats, and I was like furious, and my child was like. Of course, very afraid of my reaction and all. What I want to tell over here that whether it is your car, it is your kitchen, it is the dish that you have cooked, it is the glass that you or a piece of what do you call some crystal piece that you brought from Malaysia, or is it your clothes that you like them and your child was ironing them, and the cloth was whatever dress was burned because of the heated iron. Whatever it is, all situations are same. How you react makes a lot of difference. So in my case, what I learned is that rather than talking about my car becoming messy, I should have spoken to my son and told him that, are you okay? Because he was carrying hot chocolate, 2 glasses of hot chocolate in his hand. Are you okay? Are you safe? Is it okay? And then taking up the cleaning of the car later on, taking care of the child first. So I'm sharing with you my own lesson learned. So this happened many times in my life earlier, and then I realized that what wrong I was doing. So let's go to something else here. We can instruct and inform kids beforehand about danger or things that could harm them, except plan for right. See this. You can instruct, you can train your child, but you cannot train your child for each and everything that the child is going to face in his or her life. So you need what you can do is that you can empower your child to help the situation, how to handle the situation effectively or carefully. This is another important aspect. One more important aspect is when it comes to sharing responsibilities at home. What I have noticed in some of the homes is that parents, they want their children to work, and they don't do the work by themselves. Means they want their children to keep the rooms clean, or take off their clothes off the stand, and whatnot. But they would like them to do, but not do the same chores at the same time. So I would like to tell you something interesting over here, that when we take the when we ask, generally speaking, when we ask people who in the history you like most, none of us comes with a different answer other than the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that we like him and we like him the most, and we like his leadership and whatnot. So my question to such parents is that, have you ever seen Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asking his people to do work, and he was just sitting relaxed on a chair and chilling? No, 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 no. He was with him or with them, working as hard as they were. And he used to do chores by his own hands. This is what we have been taught in history in a books, and this is what we have learned over a period of time. So now, one of the what I would like you to understand is that one of the characteristics of leadership is not that the leader or the parents at home, be it the mother or the father, ordering their children to work. No, instead, the real good model or role model of leadership is to engage with the children with yourself. Means you engage and then you invite your children. People, children especially love to work with their parents hand in hand, hand in hand, or parents work with their along with their parents. So if they see their parents engaged, it becomes easier for them to follow. This also provides a wonderful opportunity for the parents to train their children on how to do things and what to do and what not to do. And of course, it increases the level of communication. So there was another family where the girl was around 13 years of age, and the father said that I would like you to. I happened to coach the entire family in this context, and so this 13, 14 years old girl, she was not taking care of the house chores, and the mother was exhausting herself doing everything in the kitchen and around the house and so on and so forth. Now, when I asked the girl why don't you help your mom in the kitchen, she says that my mother does not like me to be in the kitchen. Okay, why the mother does not like? Maybe for different reasons. Maybe she does not like the way this girl performs any work and what. Maybe she makes the kitchen a mess and so on and so forth. What I want to tell you over here is that this deprived them, the family, of a beautiful opportunity of a mother and her daughter, growing up daughter, working together with the children, where mother could transfer the values to her child in a very subtle and very effective way. So I asked the girl that how, because relationship was the issue between the mom and the girl. So I asked her what could be the best way to increase the relationship from 4 to 4.5. So immediately the girl responded that if I started spending some time with my mom in the kitchen, I think my relationship will become better. All right, can you do that? Yes, I can do that. So she started doing that. What she started doing, nothing in the kitchen, doing nothing in the kitchen, just standing beside her mother and just talking to her. So the relationship started improving. When the relationship started improving, the trust level also started improving in that home. So Alhamdulillah, situation started becoming better. So this is another example that struck my head, and I thought I would rather share with you. Okay, so we have developed a habit of saying to child when something goes wrong, it is kuch nahi hota, that is don't worry. All right. So that means we don't acknowledge. So acknowledge that something has gone wrong, and yes, what can be done in future. What we do usually when Bilal says kuch nahi hota means nothing happened or it doesn't matter. Don't worry. So actually, what we are doing is that we are acknowledging, or we are giving a message to the child that nothing has happened, or in our eyes it has no value. But what happens in the eyes of the child? Something has happened, and the child has a value because you and your child are different. So what we are doing is that we are declining the feelings or negating the feelings, whatever is happening in the head of the child. What is a better way, a more appropriate way is that you acknowledge the feeling of the child. Yes, something has happened. You acknowledge the feeling, and then you can ask the child that whether what is the positive or a negative meaning the child has derived out of that incident, and based on that you can ask them a question rather than you passing or pushing your judgment that nothing happened or don't worry. uh, what is the message that we are giving? We are not acknowledging the child, so the child becomes surprised. Child says it in my definition something has happened, and the father or the mother says this as nothing has happened, or it's of no value. Don't worry. So I hope I was able to put my point across that you need to acknowledge the feeling of the child and then take him through a different question or a series of questions rather than pushing your own judgment.
So what you mean to say here is you should acknowledge the feeling and then you say, okay, yes, it has broken. Okay, that's okay. So what happened? And then you can also ask, are you okay? What if he slipped and he was hurt as well? So you can ask, so what do you mean to say that you can acknowledge the feeling, and then you also acknowledge, yes, it has broken, so yes, it is a loss. So it's not that like it's not a loss, but then again, you being heard is more important. So if you're not heard, it's okay, that's fine. But then again, what how can you rephrase your sentence, and how can you use it in a better way? So we need to be very, if you want to rephrase the sentence, and at that time we need to be very very consciously alert, how what words are we going to use. So we are not, if
Mhm.
you're not consciously alert, then like anything can, if for example if you're tired, then anything that can come from our mouths, and then we can regret later, okay, oh, why did they say that, something like that. So yeah, so we need to be very very alert, and then say a phrase or say a sentence that is positive and constructive at the same time.
Thank you for adding your words of wisdom, Abdul Nafi. Coach Abdul Nafi is part of our team, and she logs in from Australia. So you will find her
Yeah.
part of our Majlis, inshallah.
So Nerbhai,
Perfect.
I think
Yes,
we are reaching to the end of the session,
yes,
right? We are
correct.
almost 41 minutes here. So
41 minutes,
before we
yeah.
close, let me just summarize that
Please.
whatever we have discussed, these things can be classified into three pillars that a parent can use to build trust between themselves and their kids. The first thing is the connection. We talked about it. You need to have a connection with a child, and this can be done by having a better communication skills, listening more to your kids and not listening to just to answer, but listening to understand. So a deeper listening is required. The second pillar could be the character of the person himself. What is your genuine intent? If you are gonna uh, show the kid that you unconditionally love them and you regard them and you care about them first before anything else, then this helps you to build the trust. And the third could be your own competence. So instead of just telling them what to do, show them how to do. So this, I think this you talked about by saying that we should be more engaged with the kids, because in case of kids, the kids don't learn whatever you tell them. They only learn when they see you doing it. So it's the learning is more incidental. It's based on the incident and event itself rather than just telling them what to do. So if you tell your child not to lie and you keep on lying to other people, so don't expect that your kid's gonna learn uh, speaking truth by looking at you. So you have to show your character, you have to show your competence. And the last thing would be the orientation. It should not be the self-orientation. You should not always be concerned about yourself and your stuff. You need to look for the concern for the other person as well. So I think all these things together will help you build trust with your kids and a better relationship, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Anything you would like to add before we
Yeah, I would
close?
like to add something over here, which is very important. From coaching perspective, something that you do not want to see, don't talk about this. Rather than talk about something that you really want to see over here. So shift. It is like shifting the perspective, 180-degree shift. For instance,
Yeah.
if I let's say if I am a father and I tell my child, tell my son, let's suppose that I don't trust your driving skills for that matter, or I don't trust your communication skills with other people. So is this that I want to see? Absolutely not. What do I want to see instead? I want him to drive to improve, let's suppose, improve his driving skills, let's suppose, or improve his communication skills, whatever kind of skills, or improving his day-to-day interaction with his siblings, or whatever. So always remember that talk about something that you want to see happening, rather than talking about something that you do not want to see happening. Right? For instance, if in homes, it's very common that children fight with each other. So rather than saying that I always see you fighting with each other, you guys don't have patience with each other, and so on, so on, blah blah blah. Rather than saying that, say that how can we be more considerate and tolerant to each other? What we can do to create a peaceful and harmonious environment at home, and so on and so forth, and then come up with small little actions. small little actions over a period of time make a huge difference. So I just wanted to
I
add
want
that.
to add here
Before
something
Please
as
go
well.
on.
before
Uh-huh.
we close, just a second.
Mhm.
There is a
Uh-huh.
question about childhood trauma for the parents. So this is going to be a long discussion. So we're gonna take it offline with the lady who has posted the question on the Facebook. So
Okay.
we invite her for a one-on-one session, and we will give her all the details so that she can get in touch with us, and we will provide her one-to-one session on her problem, inshallah. Because we cannot take
Yeah.
that question in this session. Yes, go
Sure.
ahead, Coach Sumaya, you were saying
Okay.
something.
Yeah, and everything, whatever you're saying. So I just wanted to add, like, as parents, we should be sharing our own struggles. Yes, I was like this, and this is how I changed. For example, if the siblings are fighting together, so you can let them know, yes, we used to do this, and this has helped us. Or I was very clumsy, or I used to break things, and this is how I changed myself. So when children see us perfect, and just like my children used to say, oh, you guys were so goody goody, and you were such a good children. And then I said, no, I can share, like, we used to fight, but I can't really remember how we used to fight. Then it takes me back. We should be sharing our struggles as well. Okay, this is where we came from. So it's not that, like, I am perfect, like extremely perfect. It's not that I'm very goody goody person. So, but is sharing the struggles will actually build up trust as well. So in every aspect of our life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I take a few seconds to add something over here? One of the, I just, this has struck my head based on your example. So one of the things that we have seen in parents, that when someone makes a mistake, or a child behaves, let's say, awkwardly in a social setting, what do we do? When I was young, at your age, I used to be very smart, and I never did this kind of mistakes, silly mistakes that you were doing at this stage. So what are we doing here? This is, generally speaking, you'll find.
Yeah,
So children are not able to relate what happened in your life 30 or 35 years back.
you were
No, they
perfect.
want to see something which is relevant. Yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
So they think that the parents, they came from Mars and Venus or some other satellites or other planets. So make ourselves, it is one of the important things to build trust, make ourselves look like real person. Make mistakes in learning.
I think
Thank you.
character is very important. So you have to be your
Yes.
true self if you want others to trust you. You have to say what you do actually.
Okay. So Bilal said,
Yeah.
will you recommend 3 books on effective parenting? Yes, we can recommend books on effective parenting. We can
Naeem
share
bhai,
this
we can share the book names on Facebook so that
offline. Yes. Yes.
so that more people can get benefit from
Inshallah.
that. So we'll share the covers of 3 books that we would like to recommend for
Sure.
parenting. Okay.
Inshallah.
And with this, I
Inshallah.
think we should close. So
Yeah, we should close. And when anyone would like to suggest the topic for the next Majlis, please write on Facebook that this is what you would like to address, and inshallah, we'll come back with our experience. Our purpose over here is to share our real life coaching experience and our mistakes from our own life, so that we can help other people learn and grow. Jazakallah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Assalamu alaikum.